Well, good evening. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening, and I hope you had a great day. I hope this finds you well, and thank you all for joining me. Now, I saw a little video just yesterday actually by James O Keefe, and it was of course a hidden camera recording of a recruiter for BlackRock. And then I came across this article which is in Russia Today, and I'm going to read that article. It's a very short article, but basically it is BlackRock saying that the Ukraine situation is effing good for business. Now, if you thought that these people could be any more deplorable, this will surely prove that there is no depth that this corporation will not plumb. And BlackRock, in case you haven't heard of them, along with Vanguard, are probably the two largest investment corporations on the planet. Between the two of them, they own controlling shares in just about every major corporation on this planet. It is unbelievable. They have $10 trillion under their management. No one knows anything about Vanguard because it is a private corporation, and so the names are not released. But still trillions of dollars basically under their management. So let's just pop over first to a little video of Larry Fink. He's the CEO of BlackRock, and he is telling people openly that they are going to use their leverage to force people to change. And basically, now I'm paraphrasing here, but he's saying that if corporations don't take the carrot, we're going to beat them with a stick. So let's take a look at what kind of personality that Larry Fink is. Okie dokie, here we go.
You now make a point of that's an investment criteria for you.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year, and what we are doing internally is if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted. Okay,
we're doing the same thing.
And so it's just you have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not recruiting, it is development, as Ken said. And ultimately, it's still going to take time, but I am just as much shocked as Ken is that we have not seen more opportunities. And we're going to have to force change.
So there you have it. We're going to force change on people. We're going to use our money as leverage. And that is absolutely astounding that they're so candid about the whole situation. But isn't this just a repeat of everything that we've been seeing for the last 3 years? Do it or else. Do it or we'll ruin you. Do it or we'll cancel you. It is becoming, we'll debank you. We'll take you off the SWIFT system. This is absolutely unbelievable. And the fact that they would be actively working, and I'm sure they are through their investments, to prolong the suffering in Ukraine is absolutely, it's unbelievable, it's staggering. These are real people in Ukraine who are getting absolutely lives torn apart. And I'm not talking about the people who are directly involved with the fighting. I'm talking about the collateral damage that's taking place to families, individuals, small businesses, children, the whole culture, their way of life. Absolutely incredible. So let's just pop over and read this article. It's very quick, and come back and do a quick wrap up. Okie dokie, here we go. So here we are from RT. Ukraine conflict, effing good for business. BlackRock recruiter. An employee of the asset management giant was filmed running from Project Veritas founder James O Keefe. BlackRock wants the conflict in Ukraine to continue as long as possible because it's good for business, a recruiter for the asset management giant told an undercover reporter with Project Veritas successor O Keefe Media Group in a video published on Monday. And I'm going to link that video below so that you can go watch it for yourself. It is very interesting. War is really effing good for business, Serge Varley, who since deleted LinkedIn profile, described him as a technology recruiter at BlackRock, told the reporter. He outlined a scenario in which an investor could profit off a surge in wheat prices triggered by the bombing of Ukrainian wheat silos, explaining volatility creates opportunity to make profit, before editorializing, "It's exciting when shite goes wrong, right?" "We don't want the conflict to end as a country," Varley continued, noting the longer this goes on, the weaker Russia is. Varley also boasted about his employer's control of the political system. "It's not who the president is, it's who's controlling the wallet of the president," he declared, clarifying that it was the hedge funds, BlackRock, the banks who run the world. "All these financial institutions, they buy politicians. You can make this big F-ton of money and then you can start to buy people," he said, explaining that senators were effing cheap. "You got 10 grand? You can buy a senator." The US government also needs BlackRock to run its financial simulations, he said. Admitting BlackRock does not want to be on the radar, Varley suggested that it's easier to do things when people aren't thinking about it. Or watching, of course. He appeared briefly suspicious of the reporter's motives. "You're like an undercover reporter," he said, arguing normal people were uninterested in her lines of questioning, but continued to boast about his role in deciding people's fates. After he was confronted in a New York cafe by Project Veritas founder James O Keefe himself, Varley abruptly headed for the nearest police station. He can be seen in a video motioning for O Keefe to follow him in. Following the meeting, Varley deleted his LinkedIn profile, which is still viewable in search engine results for his name. With over $10 trillion in assets under management, BlackRock controls sizable shares of most large American corporations and pension funds, including Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, Alphabet, Pfizer, Tesla, Merck, Visa, and MasterCard. The company was tapped to assist the US government in the 2008 financial crisis and the COVID-19 response, making it the only private corporation aside from the Federal Reserve itself to exert direct controls on the levers of the US financial system and raising questions about insider trading and other conflicts of interest. Several BlackRock alumni serve in the Biden administration, including Brian Deese, the head of the National Economic Council. So, as you can see, the actual regard for the loss of human life and pain and suffering is absolutely off the chart. It is all about money and nothing else whatsoever. Like I say, these are real lives that are being turned upside down here, so these filthy money handlers can turn a quick buck. And this recruiter, obviously, is going to be hiring people who have the same kind of mindset. "Oh, we don't care about what happens on the ground. We don't care what happens in your life." And the thing to take away from this situation in Ukraine is, this is a country with towns and cities, not unlike North America. When is BlackRock going to turn its attention on your country? And they are going to force or deny financing where they're going to use that leverage to buy up homes on the cheap. These people obviously have an incredible amount of sway with government because they are government advisors, and it says that they use BlackRock to run their simulations, their financial simulations worldwide. So BlackRock is right in there at the table and knows exactly where everyone's Achilles heel is, and they have enough money to do something about it. And so they grab that Achilles heel, and all of a sudden, maybe they're behind the interest rate rises. They speak quite openly how you could buy a senator for $10,000. And I'm sure it's the same in Canada. These people are all about money, and it doesn't matter whether it is your politicians, your senior civil servants. They're all on the take somehow. They're all living the high life, and they're not living the regular person's life. And so why should they care about what happens to people? Just like the video yesterday about the Bank of England, wanting to or needing to have a recession, not caring how that is going to inflict absolute pain on people's lives. I mean, well, I've got a saying, nothing takes away your sense of humor like a money problem. And anyone who's married, who's been through some money issues, you know what it's like sitting at that kitchen table. Things can get pretty hot under the collar, and this just destroys people's lives. People, hard-working people. People who are trusting in the banks and the government to do the right thing by them and to look after the country's finances and the banking finances and to make decisions with their best interests in mind. And I think this shows so clearly that that is absolutely not the case. And so we have the absolute right to lose our faith in these people. The social contract has been broken. And I, for one, I wouldn't trust these people as far as I can throw them. And in fact, I'm at the point now where whatever they tell me to do, I'm going to do the exact opposite. Because if they're telling me to do something, it's going to hurt me somehow. And even if the odd time they do tell the truth, well, you know what? The results of trusting these people are so devastating. Like I say, just look over the last 3 years. Look what happened over the last 3 years. Look at the lives that have been damaged over the last 3 years. And if that isn't callous indifference, and of course, you know, the video just came out about Boris Johnson, you know, his staff dancing around, laughing and joking during the lockdowns when everybody was going through states of depression, alcoholism, drug addiction, spousal abuse, child abuse, God knows what else. These people are laughing and joking and getting drunk and worried about the fact that they may be streaming that video.
It's third party use.
It also ends up in an ad and not
Instagram Live. As long as the
Well, I'm pretty sure the press is Laura?
What do you think of this?
Laura?
Well, my friends, the truth will always come out in the end. And you can, what you can do about this is, like I say, just don't believe these people. Don't believe them. Learn the lesson. I mean, how many times do we have to get burned before we finally realize that no good comes out of the decision making by these people? Certainly not for us. Those decisions are made for them and them alone. And as Joros Salente says, justice means just us, meaning them. We're not in that club. So we have to pay the full price of any mistake that these people make, and they just laugh it off like it is no big deal whatsoever. So I would conduct yourself accordingly. And like I say, do not trust these people. Do not believe them. They have proven over and over again that they cannot be trusted. And maybe that is the one good thing to come out of the last 3 years. The internet, social media, access to information, is that this is now coming out like an absolute river of information in people's faces, coupled with the fact that people are now feeling the absolute impact of these policies and poor decisions. So they're waking up, and they're waking up in a hurry. And so as painful as it is, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe this is actually what we needed to give people that good kick up the rear end that they have needed for so long, to shake them out of this complacency that everything's going to be okay, it's all going to go back to normal. Well, it's not. It's not. It hasn't been normal for a long, long time, way beyond way before the last 3 years. The last 3 years was just an absolute in-your-face admission that they don't want it to go back to normal, and they want conflicts to continue. Who knows? Maybe BlackRock is in bed with Blackwater. Okay, you know, the private contracting group. Maybe they're, you know, fomenting wars and conflict and unrest in all kinds of countries to create situations of volatility where companies like BlackRock and Vanguard can make a damn good profit on your suffering. So anyway, my friends, I bring you this so that you can take heed and act accordingly. Protect yourself. Think beyond the advice these people are giving you. And Maybe you will follow in my footsteps, and like I say, I do exactly the opposite of everything they recommend. And of course the chap in the interview tells you exactly the same thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, comment, subscribe below. And in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we'll talk very, very shortly. See you now. Bye.